Hello, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Jolaine, and welcome back to my channel. So, it's the time of the month where we will be doing our monthly reading wrap up. We will discuss all of the books I read last March. But before that, you like this? It's cute, right? I got it from online shop here in the Philippines. They make it like this. We have like a public transportation. It's called jeepney. And this is the signs that they have when they're telling people their destination. So I think I saw one vlogger here on YouTube has the same idea, and I got the idea from her. I just don't remember the name of her channel. I am so sorry, but it looks cute, right? But anyways, I'll get my coffee and let's get right into the video. I love me iced coffee, but we don't have ice. This is a warm coffee. Well, anyway, since I already have my coffee, as usual, with our monthly reading wrap up, we will start with our monthly statistics. So I have to pull my reading journal for my monthly statistics, but here it is how many books I read last March. It's a total of 4 books, and March is actually a good month for me for reading books. I was able to read 4, unlike the first 2 months. But I am so happy. I think I'm out of my slump, and I am currently reading 2 books. Since I am trying to be a mood reader, I will post a vlog about that. So stay tuned. I'm reading Serpents of the Wings and Night, if I'm correct. And the other one is Midnight Library by Matt Haig. But going back, the total pages I read for the month of March is 1,636 pages. March is a good month for me. I think I'm already out of the slump, but I would say that I am quite slow in reading right now because I am also doing my weight loss journey. So if you haven't watched my weight loss video that I just posted like a couple of days ago, I will post the link in the description box below just in case you're interested in that. For my March star rating breakdown, I gave 1 2 star, 1 4 star, and 2 5 stars. For my genre breakdown, I read 3 romance this month and also 1 magical realism. And most of the books I read for this month are from Ashley Poston, Elsie Silver, Emily Henry, and Elena Armas. And later on, I will let you guys know which book is my favorite for the month of March. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the books individually. I will start from the first book I read this month to the last book. So, the book tropes of this first book that we're going to discuss is small town romance, enemies to lovers, opposite attract, grumpy sunshine dynamic, and slow burn. And this book is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. So let me go ahead and give you a quick summary about this book. The book follows Elsie, seeking solace from her heartbreak, travel to the cabin where her book club meets each year. Unexpectedly, she found herself stranded in a small town from her favorite novel, where she encountered Anders, someone she initially believed to be a character from the book. Enemies turns to lovers, Andy and Elsie helped each other heal and grow. And here is the reason why I gave it 4.5 stars. Ashley Poston's A Novel Love Story weaves immersive magic with relatable emotions. So Elsie and Anders, both heartbroken, find love in a fictional town, evolving from enemies to lovers. Their journey from pain to healing is beautifully developed, and the dreamlike atmosphere is a bookworm's escape. My only question is, the town Elsie finds herself in was left unfinished by its author. So, if Elsie alters the unfinished book, how does that impact the story? Because as readers of the book know, Elsie makes significant changes in that town. So, this results in a deduction of a star. And addition to that, the story between Anders and Elsie was too fast in my opinion, and we didn't really get more information about Anders only when we came close to the end of the book. Although I liked how Anders' character development from grumpy to I will get better to prove Elsie that I'm better and love her. So Ashley Poston's writing actually captures the butterflies in your stomach on all the small moments in this book, while her fast-paced, accessible style makes you feel like a side character or as if you're witnessing what is happening firsthand. Addition to that, I would say I think it's kind of the character of Anders is so confusing, and it's also confusing how you fell in love with the guy that you just met in a week. But overall, I still love it. I just prefer Ashley Poston's The 7 Year Slip than this one. But this is also good. I really enjoyed it and I highly recommend it. And I do have a favorite quote in this book, which is life wasn't about the ending, it was about everything else. That's the first one. The second one is no, love wasn't a trap, something you had to crawl out later. If you love something or someone, sometimes you had to let them go. And if they loved you too, they'd come back. Because love, true love, always comes back. As per Ashley Poston. So this next book is actually part of our book of the month with the Bookish Bunch book club. Let me give you the trope of this book first before we proceed with anything else. The trope of this book are forced proximity, enemies to lovers, opposite attract, cowboy slash small town romance, tension filled romance, slow burn, and best friend's little sister. The book is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. And I gave this a 5 star. So let's talk about the book and my thoughts. So let me give you a quick synopsis about the book. Ford Grant, the world's hottest billionaire, returned to Rose Hill to start his own recording studio and escape the pressure of city life. Being labeled as the world's hottest billionaire is something he never wanted. He feels that people don't see him for who he truly is. That's why he went back to the town where he grew up, reconnecting with his best friend Wes Belmont, Rose's big brother. So Ford and West have always been silly together, talking about things like bowling and how Ford might pay someone to finish his studio. Then, out of nowhere, a girl shows up on Ford's doorstep claiming that he's her father. Now, Ford finds himself juggling the responsibilities of fatherhood while trying to run his business. Now, Rosie Belmont, West's younger sister, returned to Rose Hill after losing her job in the city. Her company decided it was easier to let her go than pursue a case against her boss. So, when Ford and Rosie meet again for the first time in 10 years, their history of verbal sparring is as strong as ever. Despite being enemies, Rosie convinces Ford to hire her. Desperate for a new job, she persuades him to give her a chance. Ford, unable to resist her charm after all these years, hires her on the spot, but knowing he can't let his feelings for Rosie get in the way. So he's determined to keep the relationship professional even though resisting her might be harder than he thought. So here is my thoughts about the book. It's quite long, so let's drink coffee first. So what I love about this book is how this childhood enemy turns into lovers. Their connection from the first time they met was so obvious from both of their POVs. The conflict in the first chapter hooked me right away, and just when I thought the situation was getting easy, Elsie Silver would throw in another conflict. Not sure if it's just me, but that's the feeling I got while reading the book. And I also love that all the tropes I enjoy are here: enemies to lovers, childhood love, a kid who doesn't know if there's even a trope for that, a billionaire trope, small town romance, and best friends sister trope. And I'll be very honest, I think Ford is written a bit too perfectly, but I still love how he's always had Rosie's back. The way he handles the kind of revenge for Rosie is spot on for me. The revenge isn't physical, but it feels so satisfying. And I can't emphasize enough, this man is everything. Like everything. The way he told Rosie to stop being polite and sit on his face had me laughing out loud. So if you haven't watched my weekly reading vlog about this book, you'd see my initial reaction there. It's just, I think it's more of a giggle than just a laugh. I like it. I like that part, in all honesty. And for the writing in this book, if you guys have not watched my previous vlogs, I always tell you guys that I want a book without overwhelming and complicated words, especially for genres like this. And Elsie Silver serves it at its finest. Elsie's writing is so detailed and it's not wordy at the same time. For someone who doesn't have a very wide vocabulary, helps me read faster and helps me focus on the plot instead. But I also love books with a lot of new words if it's more on the self-help or politic or kind, as long as it's not a fictional book. But aside from that, I also listen to its audiobook. So all I can say that it's both impactful in my opinion, especially whoever did Rosie and Ford's voiceover, you will know right off the bat that Ford is so nonchalant and Rosie is always the sunshine in the room. So whoever did their voiceovers is very perfect for how their characters were written in the book. And as for the character development, I think it's at the right pace, but I didn't feel like there was a massive growth for either character. For either character, you can tell right away that Ford is an a-hole with a big heart, which I kind of predicted. I can't say much about Rosie either because there isn't a drastic change in her character up until the end. She pretty much maintains the same aura and attitude. Though as a couple, they do develop quite a bit, eventually becoming a team. With Wes's character is on point. He's humorous, understandable, and amazing. Basically everything I love. Although the book mentions that he always got into trouble when they were younger with Ford, he feels much more mature in the story and he's a loving dad, brother, and best friend, which I really enjoy. And as for Cora, Ford's daughter, at first I thought she'd be the source of complications, drama between Ford and Rosie, but she ended up changing their whole lives in a good way, especially in terms of their relationship with their parents. So I like those characters. But overall, I absolutely loved and enjoyed this book, which is why I gave it 5-star rating. It has most of the tropes I love and I enjoy, and I adore how Ford respects Rosie so much, but still drives her crazy in the spicy moments. I also love how Rosie realizes that Ford has always had her back, and honestly, this book reminds me of Twisted Love. Some of the tropes are the same, but the writing style is completely different, though they are similar in some ways. If that makes sense. But I also want to mention that I love the cowboy vibes in this book. And I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy it so much. So, if you love the billionaire trope, enemies to lovers, best friends, sisters, small town settings, the single dad trope and childhood love, you will definitely enjoy Wild Love by Elsie Silver. And I do have a favorite quote or phrase from this, which is, you don't hate her. You never did. You hate that you think you can't have her. And this was mentioned by Ford's sister. The book tropes of this next book that we're talking about are fake dating, forced proximity, grumpy sunshine, romantic comedy, a little, slow burn romance, and character growth. And this book is Funny Story by Emily Henry. And I gave this book 5 stars. So here is a quick summary of the book, just in case you haven't read it yet. But this book is about Daphne, who is engaged to Peter. Peter has a childhood best friend named Petra, who is in a relationship with Miles. Before Daphne and Peter's wedding, Peter went out with his friends for his bachelor party, and his best friend Petra was there as well. When Peter came home, he confessed to Daphne that he had realized he was in love with his best friend Petra. And he basically told her, "You need to leave the house because Petra is moving in." What an asshole. Right? I hate that. But, anyways, then all of a sudden, Miles showed up looking for Petra after she dumped him with a note. She's definitely, oh, I hate it. Daphne thought, who in this world would understand what I'm going through if not this guy? So she asked if they could be roommates while she tried to get her life together after building it around Peter and his friends. One day, Daphne and Miles received a wedding invitation from her ex fiance and Miles's ex girlfriend, who is now engaged to Daphne's ex fiance. That wasn't confusing at all. But with that being said, they both decided to go to the wedding pretending they are in a relationship to make their exes jealous or to see if they still cared. But little did they know, while being roommates and pretending to be lovers, they had fallen in love with each other. That's why I gave it 5 star. But here are my thoughts about this book. So this book slapped me with its conflict right away, and I made sure I read the title of the book correctly because it says funny story. So why in the hell this is heartbreaking? This is the first book I read where the main characters didn't fall in love in a week of meeting each other. They followed the 3-month rule before hooking up or getting into a relationship after a breakup. Honestly, they wouldn't even be fake dating if they hadn't received that wedding invitation, in my opinion. Now, if we're going to talk about the characters, all I can say is that Miles and Daphne had this connection from the very beginning, not just because of their exes' betrayal, but because of many other things, especially family drama. Daphne's character is very relatable, especially how trusting she is, even though she knows some people will let her down. She's kind of an introvert in my opinion, partly because of her experience with her dad and her recent breakup. She likes everything organized and planned, even having a calendar where she schedules everything, which I think she got from Peter since they've been together for years. But by the end of the book, I like how she developed in opening up to the idea that a lot of things can go wrong and that's okay. She also used to hate surprises, but by the end, she couldn't wait for them. Her character developed really well, to be honest. But as for Miles, the way he was described in the first few pages of the book, I didn't think he was the male main character, especially the stoner part. But as I kept reading, I realized he was just so broken that he came across almost like a homeless looking person in my mind every time Daphne described him. I get a clear picture of how cute he is, not necessarily hot, but I love him. There aren't many background details about him since this is told from Daphne's POV. Overall, I enjoyed this book. While I didn't ugly cry, I did cry a little because of how Emily Henry wrote it and how relatable it was. The emotions were real, especially when Miles didn't pick up Daphne from the library and went to Petra instead. I was so mad and brokenhearted, but I won't spoil the book anymore. But despite being predictable, I genuinely enjoyed it. By halfway through, I already understand why the title was Funny Story. I also thought this would be a rom com, but while it wasn't exactly that, there were definitely parts that made me giggle and made me laugh on this book. But here is my favorite quote or phrase from this book that I believe this was mentioned by Miles or Daphne. I don't know. It's easy to be around people who don't know you, but as soon as someone starts to figure you out, as soon as you can't be perfect, it's easier to move on. Find someone new to be cool, fun, laid back one with. So we are now on the last book I read last month, and I will give you guys the book tropes first, and then we'll give you my thoughts about it. So the tropes of this book is fake dating, enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine, forced proximity, slow burn, romantic comedy vibes, I guess, but I don't think that's the case. But it's The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. And I gave this 2 stars. And here is a quick summary before I give you guys my thought about it. These books follow Catalina Martin, her sister's bridesmaid, but needs to bring a fake boyfriend to the wedding because her sister's soon to be husband is her ex's brother, who just got engaged. She doesn't want to fly to Spain alone, fearing that their family and friends will think she's still heartbroken over what happened with her ex. As the wedding date approaches and Catalina still hasn't found a fake boyfriend, her colleague and enemy, Aaron Blackford, who by the way looks like Clark Kent, offers to help. And no matter how desperate Catalina is, she's determined to not pick Aaron as her fake boyfriend because of their differences. So Catalina reluctantly accepts his offer to fly to Spain and pretend to be her boyfriend. As the two spend more time together, the lines between pretense and reality began to blur, and they must confront their feelings, fears, and what they truly want from their relationship. So here is the overall thought that I have for this book. But before that, I just wanted to let everyone knows that people's opinion about books are different. So this is just my opinion, and like I said from my reading vlog, I tried my best to give a constructive criticism about this book. So my overall thought about this book is um I just wanted to get straight to the point about this book. So first, Catalina has been blind from the very beginning. Aaron, who looks like Clark Kent and offers to be her fake boyfriend, already shows signs that he likes her. And it took us 23 or 24 chapters to realize it. However, I know she misunderstood him when he said he didn't want to work with her. But even after that, it's too obvious that Aaron likes her. He's always around her, helping her without being asked. And to be honest, this is not an enemies to lovers book. Catalina is the only one throwing shade at Aaron. And Aaron, on the other hand, just doesn't talk. He mostly just stares. There's no banter. I need banter if it's advertised as enemies to lovers trope. And as I mentioned in my previous vlogs, I love slow burn books, but this one feels like the author is trying too hard to make it seem like a slow burn book. Each chapter feels like it takes forever, and it's mostly about Catalina feels and thinks, not about what's actually happening around her. If that, makes sense. There are some good conversations between Catalina and Aaron, to be honest. But after that, it's just boring again. And there's no character development or whatsoever. Catalina is stubborn from the very start, and I thought that would change after their first fake dating moments. But she just goes on and on and on until the very end of the book. She thinks she's playing hard to get, but she's just blind, stubborn, and annoying, to be honest. And don't get me started on the writing of this book. It's too repetitive. There's nothing wrong with describing someone's eyes and telling us what you see, but using the same words over and over again until the end of the book becomes redundant. And is that the only thing, or is that the only word that they can use to describe those eyes. It feels like she has no any other words to describe what's happening. And the spicy scenes fell flat too. Although I like the part where Aaron broke the bed. Other than that, it's just it didn't make sense to me anymore. The conflict in the book came too late as well. I wish it had been introduced earlier, maybe somewhere in the middle or at the beginning. But overall, this book wasn't very impactful for me and felt flat. But like I said, maybe I'm just burned out from reading too many romance books. I've been reading romance books since March, and I think most of the books I have here are that either of the characters are already engaged and they just have to call off the engagement because the other one cheated or they're not satisfied with their partner. So that's mostly the kind of books I read this month. And in all honesty, I am quite sad with the thoughts or with the comment I have to give with the Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, because one of my book club members do love the book, and for some reasons it's not really for me. Maybe we could give it another shot after a year, maybe reread the book, but to be honest, it's just I don't know. It's even fully annotated. It's like heavily annotated because there are some parts here that I thought it's gonna change, it's gonna grow, but maybe it's just me. That's all. Those are the books I read this month. Most of them are romance. All of them are romance, actually. A novel love story is also a romance book. It's just on the very end of the book, I would say. But it's still a little bit of a romance in there. I think the spiciest book I read this month is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. And my least favorite book for this month is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. And my favorite book for this month is The Funny Story by Emily Henry. I really like it. And if you guys haven't watched my TBR for the month of April, my eldest son picked my April TBR, and I have two Emily Henry books there as well. So I am quite excited to read those books. And I also might add some of my reading journal entry in this vlog. Hopefully I won't forget because I do have that plans from my previous vlogs, but I always forget to add them. But we'll go ahead and add them in this vlog. Overall, I do recommend all this book. I just can't say that I would recommend The Spanish Love Deception because it's not for me. It could be for you, but it's not for me. So maybe you could try to read it first because I don't want to say that don't read it because I think I'm just the only person who doesn't like it as of now, I guess. But try and read it. Like I always say, try it for yourself to see if it's a good or a bad book for you to know, right? Also, I have posted a video. It's my weight loss journey video. It's my very first one. I do have other videos that I will be posting in my channel, but it's just gonna take a while because it's a 30 days in the making. But I will post my weight loss journey and my progress in my channel whenever I can. And I am now also posting my reading vlogs every week. I just haven't posted anything yet because I am not finished with my current vlog, but I will be posting that really soon. And as of the moment, while we are filming this vlog, I have already reached 190 subscribers in my channel, and I am so happy. I'm almost 200 this year, and I was not expecting that at all. So I am so, so, so happy and grateful for that because it's not easy to get 190 subscribers. Anyways, that's all for our video, but that's all for our vlog today. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Bye!